Today we have a Maytag gas dryer. The complaint is that the unit will not heat. So what I did is I turned it on to see if it would heat. There was no clunking going down. And to check this, I put it on time dry, and I kept changing between high heat and air only. Now in theory, whenever you switch between the different options, you should hear the gas valve get energized. In this particular situation, it was not getting energized. So we will have to break in to find out if there are any fuses bad. Now to access inside the unit, you will use a putty knife. Go to the first corner, press it and lift it up. Do the same on the other corner. Lift up and tilt back on the top of the unit. Next, we have a door switch that is here. You will use a small flat blade screwdriver, press it in between the sides and twist on both sides in order to dislodge the molex, separate it. We do have two 5/16 screws that are in the corners here. They'll have to be removed. Once these 5/16 screws are removed, we'll close the door, lift up on a corner and pull out. Do the same on the opposite side to remove the front bulkhead. Next, we'll have to remove the front bulkhead piece. There are a couple of screws here. Now the two on the top will just get loosened. The two on the bottom will get removed, as well as the two on the bottom of the blower housing will get removed. Once again, loosen the top ones. Remove the two that are on the bottom corners of the blower assembly. Lift up on the bulkhead and pull out. Do one side at a time so that you can guide the screws out of the designated slotted area. Once you've done this, lift up the drum, start to pull the blower portion out, pull out the rest of the bulkhead, disconnect your two wires on the sensor bar, and set your bulkhead aside. We will have to remove the drum. We will put our arms inside. The belt on the back is one that you will want to remove. Once you grab the idler, you will pull to the right side, take the belt off of the motor shaft, and then we'll remove the drum. Idler is off. Pull out on the drum and set it aside. Now inside the unit, you got two different sets here. There's one that is located on the actual blower assembly. This one's your thermal fuse as well as your thermistor. So we will test the thermal fuse. Remove the wiring. Put our meter on ohms. I will use an audible tone, so if it's good, you should hear a noise. So that is testing okay. Now, had that been bad, you'll want to replace your thermal fuse and your thermistor. You want to replace whatever portion corresponds with the fuse that you are replacing. We will test out our thermal cutoff. So unplug our wires here. Your thermal cutoff has no continuity, so we will have to replace the thermal cutoff as well as your high limit thermostat. It is held on by 1/4 inch screw. Remove your old thermal cutoff. We will slide in the new one. There is a bent kind of notch on the actual thermal cutoff that will correspond with the slotted area on the burner tube. Slide that in. Replace your 1/4 inch screw. Reinstall the wiring. Next, we will remove the wiring from your high limit thermostat. Remove the screw on this side This is also a 1/4 inch, as well as remove the screw on the other side. Pull off your high limit thermostat. We will put the other one in place and replace the first holding screw. Replace the second holding screw. Reinstall our wiring. It's a good idea to reach inside to make sure that your blower wheel is tumbling, especially if these fuses are popped. These have a tendency to pop from blocked airflow. They can pop if this pulley has come loose and causing it to not blow the air out, or restricted venting. So make sure you check that. Now we'll start to put the unit back together. The first thing we will do is set back in our drum. Slide it back into place. Give it a turn so that it is properly on the back rollers. Now at this point, lift up your belt to make sure it lines up with the markings that was on your drum from being on there previously. We will reach in the back, stretch back our idler the same direction as whenever we took it off to relieve pressure off of it. Put the belt around the motor shaft and then around the idler wheel. Once this is on here, we can reinstall our front bulkhead. When reinstalling the front bulkhead, place the bottom by where your blower wheel is. We'll lift up on the drum and start to slide it in place. Lift up on one side and slide it behind your 5/16 screw that was loosened. And the same on the opposite side. Once it's in place, give the drum a turn. If your belt has fallen off, in which in this particular situation, mine has, make sure you reach in and reattach your drum. Our belt is back on. Not caught on anything, it looks good. Give it a little turn. Okay, our drum is good. We are on the front rollers. Reinstall the wiring connections. We will reinstall the bottom side screws. Make sure you retighten the top. Reinstall the 2 screws that go for your blower assembly. Reinstalling the front sometimes can be tricky. If there is a side that gives you issues, make sure you install that side first. So on the bottom, there are these kind of fingers that hang off of the bottom sides that correspond with 2 square holes that are on the front base. So what we will do is we will line it up, lift up just a tad bit, line in one side, so you'll lift up, push in, and drop it down on those teeth. Do the same on the opposite side. Reinstall the 2 5/16 screws that you removed off the front cabinet. We will plug back in our door switch mechanism. Drop back down the front and snap it into place. And this will complete your repair.